Okay, I think we can start now. So, hi everyone, welcome to today's MSc Cancer Program Virtual Open Day. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Mariangela Loy. I have recently completed my Cancer MSc degree at UCL, and I will be graduating in the spring of 2025. For this afternoon, I will be the chair for this event, and we hope this session will address any course-specific questions that you may have, and it will help you get a better insight into what it's really like to study a master's program at UCL. I'm delighted to welcome today's speaker, Dr. Sarah Koushyar, who will provide you with a summary of the MSc Cancer program. You will be able to ask any questions to Dr. Koushyar and myself about the course during our Q&A part of this event using the Q&A function. This session is being recorded and will be made available on our website following today's event. Now to introduce our speaker, we have Dr. Sarah Koushyar. Sarah is a teaching lecturer at the Cancer Institute. Topics that Sarah teaches range from scientific skills to molecular and cellular biology within both a normal and cancerous setting. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Mariangela, for sharing and for the very kind introduction. I will just quickly share my slides, get them up, and I will start presenting. So thank you again. It's my pleasure to introduce to you all a program overview for the MSc Cancer. So like Mariangela said, I'm a teaching lecturer and I'm a co-program lead for this course alongside Professor John Hartley. So first, what I really want to do is give you an insight into the UCL Cancer Institute, so where we actually sit within UCL. So we belong to the Faculty of Medical Sciences. And as you can see, we have other divisions within the faculty itself, alongside the medical school, the Division of Surgery and Interventional Sciences, Division of Medicine, the Eastman Dental Institute, and also the Division of Infection and Immunity. And because we have such a strong research output within the field of cancer research, we are considered our own division. And within our own division, we have over 400, if not pushing on 500 scientists, and we are situated in this building here called the Paul O. Gorman Building. So some of you may have seen this building before if you've been to UCL, but it's right opposite the Macmillan Cancer Centre. And this is really key with its location because we have a lot of connections with the clinicians that work in the hospital, and we receive a lot of samples from clinical trials or directly from the patients as well. So it's a huge division. We have around 50 group leaders, and it really is a mixture of basic scientists, research scientists, and clinical academics as well. So the UCL Cancer Institute itself is further divided into 5 research departments. So we have cancer biology, the Clinical Trials Centre, hematology, oncology, and pathology. So we have scientists across all of these departments teaching, contributing to our course. So you get to interact and network with people working across all of these divisions. Now, what's new for this year, it's very exciting that we have our own Department of Cancer Education. So that's where the cancer education team sits, and this is where the degree programs are also run. And the reason why we've become our own department is because our portfolio of degrees has been expanding over the years, and our student number intake is also on the increase. So due to the success of our various degrees, we're very proud to say we're our own department now. So let me go back one slide. Yeah, go to the next one. So we really pride ourselves on the fact that the CI has this benched bedside translational pipeline. So for every stage of this pipeline, there are people working on or research in that particular area. So we have people working in scientific discovery. They then prove their concept by using a variety of different models. So whether that's preclinical models, whether that's AI, mathematical models, and in vivo models, they then, once they've proven their hypothesis, we've had a huge amount of success in developing this further with the use of preclinical development. So we've had a lot of success with spin-out companies. GCLP, Good Clinical Lab Practice Facility, is actually located on the first floor of the Cancer Institute. So this is where we deal with all of the clinical trial samples that are coming through to the Cancer Institute. And they really influence early and also late phases of the clinical trials. Now, because we have so many people working in the CI on a variety of different topics, we really are multidisciplinary. So we have people working in AI, we have people working in bioengineering, in the pharmacy, in maths and physical sciences, people working in advanced imaging as well. And one key collaboration we have is with the Francis Crick Institute, which is one of the biggest centres for biomedical science over at King's Cross. And there are a lot of principal investigators working at the CI that have a research group or a part of a research group at the Francis Crick Institute. So to be able to learn in this environment is a very unique experience because it is so multidisciplinary and you learn from so many different experts in their fields. So like I said earlier, we have a lot of success with spin-out companies. So we have Achilles spin-out companies with CAR-T therapy manufacturing. We have a success in transitioning from early phase trials to late phase clinical trials, right through to clinical practice. And a lot of the clinical leads, the scientists that discover the potential target to improve our current cancer treatments, all work within the Cancer Institute. And you have the opportunity to be able to hear from these expertise on our course as well. But where do you fit into this? So we really are trying to train the next generation of cancer scientists. And that is where our MSc in cancer fits into this puzzle of multidisciplinary teams and educating them to see what really is out there post MSc, what avenues they can take in the various steps of this pipeline. Okay, so that's enough about the actual facilities and where we're based. I'm sure you're all keen to hear about the structure of our course. So this is, hopefully, it looks like quite a busy schematic, but I will walk you through it as best I can. So one thing I do want to make clear is that this MSc is a full year. So it's not an academic year, it's a full calendar year. And it's full-time hours, particularly in term 1, where we have the 2 core modules. So these are known as the basic biology and cancer genetics and cancer therapeutic modules. So they run from September up until January, where the exams are taken around early January actually for these 4 modules. So both of these are compulsory and they are really there to give the same foundation of knowledge to all of our students on the basics of cancer biology and also developing that knowledge into what we currently have for cancer therapeutics. Because our student body comes from a variety of different backgrounds, so we've had nurses, we've had intercalating medical students, we've had nutritionists, biomedical scientists, life scientists. We really want to ensure all of our students are on the same page before they go on to term 2, where they begin to specialize with their optional modules. So that's term 1. Term 2, which is new to this current year, we have the choice of 2 optional modules. So the first choice is between cancer immunology and immunotherapy, or multi-omics and cancer evolution. So these 2 are named our specialist modules, and they are 30 credits. So they run from January up until the Easter break. Alongside that optional module, we have a second choice, which is a 15 credit module, either between cancer clinical trials or behavioral science and cancer. Now, to finish off the portfolio of your taught modules, we finish with a cancer research skills, which is compulsory and is also a 15 credit module. So this module here is slightly different in the way that we teach it. The key is in the name, it is more skills-based. There's not a lot of lecture content. It's all about preparing you for your final research module. So we go through the basics of how to use stats, scientific communication, how will you critically analyze different types of data, basics of R as well, and a few other workshops to help with your presentation and CV writing also. So the final term is your research project. So this runs from after the Easter break up until September, where you submit your dissertation. This is full-time for just over 3 months, depending on when Easter falls. And this research project can be working either in a research lab, working in the labs, so which is considered a wet lab-based project. It can be a dry project, where you're not so much based in the lab, but you can be working on your computer, analyzing data. So it's more of a bioinformatic project. Or there's some projects that can combine a mixture of both a wet and dry lab components as well. So I don't want to give you too many details about all of this, these arrows here, but these just indicate the assessments that we have throughout each module. And the main message here with these arrows is we try our best to not crowd the assessment deadlines or bunch them together. So we try and space them out as much as we can to ensure that the students have enough time to work on one assignment at a time as the best that we can. Okay, so that's a quick overview of our course structure. Now the different types of teaching activities that we have. So we pride ourselves on the different ways that we actually educate the students here at the Cancer Institute, and it can be quite varied. So throughout term 1, you have a mixture of live lectures alongside smaller group tutorial sessions every week. And the rationale behind running these small group tutorials is to really try and consolidate the previous week's lecture content. This is an opportunity for the students just to recap what they learned in the previous week and come to these tutorials with their answers to a variety of different questions that I provide. And it's also a chance for the students to discuss their ideas in front of their peers as well. In term 1, we also have 2 face-to-face lab practicals. So it's a DNA practical and we have an ELISA practical that we run in the teaching labs. And this is just an opportunity for students that haven't had much experience working in the lab to get up to speed with the basic molecular and cellular biology techniques that we have in preparation for their research dissertation if they decide to do a wet lab project. We also have a Meet the Researcher session throughout term 1. This is it's a supplementary session. So it really is to highlight what work and research is being carried out at the Cancer Institute. So we have talk from researchers, PhD students, technical staff, PIs, who else? We also have PhD students, if I haven't already mentioned that. So it's also a good opportunity for students to put a name to a face to the names that you constantly see throughout the CI. And it's a good networking opportunity as well. So you can email those people afterwards if you're interested in their type of research. We also have a variety of different workshops. So we have evidence-based medicine workshops to walk you through how you can critically analyze a clinical trial paper. We have workshops which are designed to get you up to speed with using R, the R program. We also have workshops on how to present different types of scientific communication pieces. We have pre-recorded lectures sometimes to help in an asynchronous manner. And we try to supplement the weekly tasks that we provide to you with online quizzes and further resources. So we try and tick the boxes for all of the different types of teaching techniques to cater for all of the learner types we have on our course. So just to highlight some of the recent research that has come out from the Cancer Institute, which you can find on our Cancer Institute website. So I just wanted to highlight here a few of the most recent pieces we've had. And these are all clinicians or scientists that are working in the Cancer Institute and offer teaching and offer projects on our MSc. So you really are at the forefront of groundbreaking research. Just to highlight, some of you may have already heard about the TRACER clinical study, but it is in collaboration with the Francis Crick Institute, and it's the biggest study looking at lung cancer patients and tracking their lung cancer cells evolution pre-treatment, during treatment, and post-treatment. And there's a huge amount of data, clinical data, genetic data, molecular data that is coming out of this project clinical study, which is really informing the way that we can treat and monitor lung cancer patients. Just to highlight also that the Cancer Institute also has Cancer Research UK City of London Centre status. So this is a really great network across 4 different institutes in London, so in collaboration with King's, Barts and the Francis Crick Institute. So again, we have that collaboration across world-leading universities within London as well. And that research really translates to the project our MSc Cancer students produced. So I just wanted to give you a snapshot of our MSc Cancer dissertation projects that we have and how varied they can be. So we have a lot of projects focusing on CAR T therapy, but we also have more basic science projects as well. So looking at more on a molecular level. For example, here, looking at protein partners of a particular protein which is heavily involved in oncogenesis. And we have also, what you can see here, hopefully my pointer is working, we also offer systematic reviews as well. And we have projects which are offered in collaboration with industry partners. So here is a project that we had from the charity partner from the Anthony Nolan charity here, investigating changes of what umbilical cord derived stromal cells secrete and its influence on cell function. So we have a variety of different projects which can cater to all student interests. Okay, so what do we offer? What do we pride ourselves on and where our graduates end up going afterwards? So we try and embed all of these key transferable skills that the students can take away with them into their future career. So we embed key skills where the students can critically evaluate the scientific literature. So whether that's with the different assessment types or within certain workshops. Throughout the course, you'll get comfortable and used to the idea of presenting your work to a variety of different audiences. Throughout your research dissertation, you'll get to grips with how you design, how you plan, how you carry out all of your experiments, whether that's in a wet lab or a dry lab setting. So we've had students go on to postgraduate medicine. We've had some go directly onto a PhD studentship. We've had clinical trial assistant, biomedical science marketing, research technicians. We've even had a disease specialist at Bloomberg, scientific officers at the Institute of Cancer Research. We've had a few go into AI and healthcare, and this is both within the CI, within UCL, within the country, but also worldwide as well. So we try and make the MSc Cancer a community. So when you come into the course, we usually have a variety of different social activities, usually around once a term. And because of the size of the cohort, you get to know one another really well. So it's a real sense of community. And this is just us at the first lot of graduation. And like Mariangela said, she will be graduating in May, so I can update the photos with her cohort's photos as well. And I just wanted to finish the talk with a student testimony, just to highlight what the students feel about the course rather than just my perspective. I will read this out in case you can't see it well on the screen. So while it was academically challenging, the course allowed me to learn more than just academic and research skills. Throughout the program, I learned how to be able to connect scientific knowledge with real life applications through to scientific communication, how to build my networking skills, and how to improve myself and become a more effective student. While in MSc Cancer, I found it fascinating that there's a plethora of compelling niche fields related to cancer research. A career is a journey to discover, and I believe my experience in MSc Cancer will be a strong foundation for my future endeavours. So I thought that was a really nice quote to end my session on, and I'm more than happy to take any questions that you may have or go over any of the slides in more detail. So thank you very much for listening, and I welcome the Q&A.
Thank you, Sarah, for the very informative session on the course. We will now start our Q&A section. So please, if you have any questions, add them to the Q&A box. Okay, we have a question on how big is the student cohort on this course? So I can say my cohort was 28 students, but
Yeah, that's right. So your course was, around 28 students. The year before that, it was 47. And this current year, it's 38.
yeah. Another question, how involved was the course in securing a graduate position in the desired field of interest to the student?
So this is a very good question, and a question that needs to be addressed. So a lot of the time, Mariangela, you can also comment on how you felt it was as well. But once you start your research project, that is the opportunity where you start to network and work within that research group, get to know the positions that are upcoming. And we've had quite a few students secure a job within the research team where they carried out their research project. And to address previous feedback about trying to embed key employability skills within the curriculum, I'm now for this year amending that final top module that I mentioned to you. And we're going to work with the careers team to try and embed key skills that the students may not have reached out to otherwise. So how to write your CV, how to write a cover letter, how do you present to different audiences, interview techniques, a PhD writing application workshop as well. So we're trying to continuously enhance our curriculum, but I don't know if you want to comment any more on that.
No, I think you've covered it all. I do know it doesn't apply to me because I didn't want to stay in a lab setting, but I know a lot of my friends who did a wet lab project during the summer did stay in the lab they were doing their projects in. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, so you okay. You mentioned that you previously had intercalating medical students join this course. How does that work if the term ends in September?
So we have medical students that have completed, I think usually they've come in on either their 5th year. We've had two different types. We've had one that's completed 3 years of their medical degree, started in September. They submit their dissertation in September. It doesn't mean that there's a cut-off point in the lab. So it's usually around mid-August, and then they return to medical school after that, after they submit. Does that hopefully answer your question?
Yeah. A question about the assessment style. So is the assessment style essays, short answer questions, long answer questions, or multiple choice?
Good question. Thank you for that. So the assessment types vary. So we have MCQ questions, we have coursework essay type questions, so whether that's critically evaluating a clinical trial paper or some kind of data analysis coursework. We also have data analysis exams. We have a poster presentation, and we also have an oral presentation as well.
Yeah. How do you pick a research project? Are they automatically assigned? Can you choose or do you need to reach out to a supervisor?
So they are not automatically assigned. So the education team collates all of the research projects that are on offer. So we do a call out to all of the staff in the CI and also collaborators of the CI as well. We collect all of those projects. We then advertise all of those projects to the students. The students then have around 2 weeks to rank their projects, so their top 10 projects. Then we have an internal algorithm which matches students to their projects that they've chosen. We've got quite a good success rate, so around 70% will get their top 5. So we try our best to get the students allocated at least within their top 5. So that's how it works. And I think that makes it a very fair process because not all students are comfortable enough to approach the PIs to come up with their own project. So we do that for the students.
Would the Cancer MSc course be an appropriate starting point to get involved in more treatment-related research focused on gene therapy?
Yes, I don't see why not. Oh, it's just disappeared. Sorry. Yes. We have a lot of researchers working with gene therapy, and the beauty of it is that these techniques can be translated to a variety of disease settings. It's the same technique, it's the same knowledge, it's just a different disease setting. So I don't see how that would be a hindrance if you did the course. It is very translational.
Yeah. Next question. Do most students in the cohort proportion-wise tend to go onto PhDs or also a significant number to industry?
A good question. So I would say a lot of students do go on to do PhD projects, but that's with an interim of a research tech job first or a research assistant post first, and then they go on to a PhD project. We do have students going on to industry, but I would say currently, based off the last 3 cohorts, I'd say more students actually stay in academia in the first few years. I've only known a handful of students that have gone into the industry, but that's only based on the last 3 cohorts.
Okay. How does this course stand out from an MRes?
This is a very good question, a question that comes up a lot. I think if you love lab work, you're very research driven, I would suggest that you go for an MRes. The MSc gives you a variety of different subjects which you're exposed to. So if you don't quite know at this stage if you want a career in research, or potentially you might want a role which is more patient facing or more clinical trials based or behavioral science in cancer, the MSc is the better option for you. So it depends how much you want to learn and build on what you've already learned on your undergrad level, and how specialized you want to become. And if you're really 100% in on working in the lab for a longer period of time, because with the MSc Cancer, you're in the lab full time for 3 months, but for MReses, it can vary up to 9 months in the lab.
Okay, how long is a typical day? Are there a lot of back-to-back lectures?
So term 1 is, I would say, the most intense out of all of the terms with the lecture content. So a typical day will vary. There are quite a few back-to-back lectures because there's so much to cover in term 1. So some days you will be in 10 to 5, some days you will be in only for the afternoon. It completely varies, but what I will say it is for the first term especially, you're in pretty much every day, bar a Wednesday.
Okay, what type of university degree is usually done before being able to take this master course?
So we have a variety of student backgrounds. So we have students that come from biomedical sciences, we've had nutrition students, we've had nursing students, life sciences, medical students. So that's the bulk of our student body.
Okay, there's a question regarding the UCL multidisciplinary themes and what this exactly means.
Yes. Okay. I know that. Yeah. Sorry for if I wasn't quite clear on that. So life sciences and pharmacy, does this mean that? So we have a lot of the theme cancer spans beyond the Cancer Institute within our faculty. So we have collaborations working in pharmacy, we have collaborations working in the life sciences faculty. We also have collaborations with the Faculty of Engineering as well, where we're currently building up modules where engineering students and cancer students are able to work together on a more cancer computational module as well. So that's what I meant. There's always a cancer theme, but it's in connection with other departments.
Okay, there's a question about how many contact hours there are per week. I think you started answering that before.
Yes, so contact hours, I would say it's full-time hours throughout the week, particularly in term 1.
Okay. Are there connections to facilities outside of university, like cancer research institutes that students get to directly interact with?
Yeah. So outside of university, so we do get guest speakers from different institutes, either worldwide or within London. where the students can attend. So we have weekly seminars for the CI staff that the MSc students are able to attend if they have no lectures at that time.
I can also add, for example, we had one day to learn about CAR T cells. We went to the Royal Free Hospital and we had the whole day where they showed us around the labs and how they do CAR T research and how unique it is.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Is there a lot of support for students wanting to expand into industry, and how can they get industrial experience as well as clinical and academic experiences?
Okay, so I mentioned in the slide that we have the GCLP lab, which is the industry link. We where students can work in there on their projects. So that's the industry link that we actually have within the GCLP. We sometimes have projects from the Sarah Cannon Institute as well, which is another industry link. So those are the two that I can think of the top of my head.
A question from international students. How are international students supported living abroad and about language barriers?
Yes, so a very important point. UCL itself, well, not just CI, have a plethora of resources to support international students. We are a very dedicated team as well, and we have an open door policy if international students are struggling. We also have every student is given a personal tutor as well, and the personal tutor are well trained with the resources we have available for international students. We have a whole centre around the academic communication side of things where international students can do drop-in sessions, one-on-one sessions to help boost their confidence with their language and writing skills also.
Is there alumni support after graduation?
So graduate students that graduate from our course are entitled to up to 3 years worth of resources from the alumni team. So you can still use our careers facilities, all the other support services that we have up to 3 years after your graduation.
Continuing on to the question about international students, are there any events or sessions generally put in place in this course to support international students?
Yes, so that is just following on my previous question. Oh, it's gone. We have the Academic Communication Centre workshop actually embedded into our curriculum as well. We there's a variety if you're wanting to connect with other international students. There's a variety of societies that you can also join. We have a really nice induction day just to get students used to life at the UCL and show the students what you can do to really immerse yourself at life within London as well, not just UCL. So we try our best to support our international student cohort.
Mm-hmm. Will the university offer any support or advice for people wanting to do a PhD?
Yes, absolutely. There's over 100 PhD students in the Cancer Institute. We also, the graduate tutor who oversees all of the PhD students is part of the education team. And together we have workshops on PhD writing, applications for PhDs, what you need to do to enhance your CV to try and secure a PhD. And that's not only just at the Cancer Institute, it's also service provided by the Faculty of Medical Sciences. They provide a lot of career support and advice if you want to do a PhD.
There's a question about letters of recommendation to apply to the course. Can students get a letter of recommendation from teaching assistants, like PhD candidates that have taught them?
Oh yes, sorry. Let me just read. I lost the question. I'm not entirely sure what that question is asking. I know you need, I think, 2 references for the application, but I can't comment that much on the application process because it's all done centrally. So I don't want to be giving you the wrong information there. So if you do have a question about the applications, please reach out to the core team at the core applications team.
Mm-hmm. And that goes also to, there's a person who asked, what is the application process like for the MSc Cancer course?
Yeah, as what I can tell you, as long as you meet the requirements, what you need to get onto the degree, and you have, I think, at the current 2 references, then you should be offered a place.
Mhm. What skills, academic coursework, and previous work experience do you recommend getting involved with prior to applying for the MSc in Cancer?
So you can keep up to date with the most recent advances in cancer, in the field of cancer research. So you can subscribe to different podcasts. You can subscribe to a weekly digest from Nature on cancer research articles. But none of this is really necessary. It's only if you want to kind of get ahead of what we're going to teach you, because ultimately on the course we provide you with all the knowledge and skills that you need to be able to succeed. That's what the whole premise of our MSc is, to teach you about the field of cancer research. So I don't want to say you need to read X, Y, and Z, prepare yourself. All you need is a bachelor's degree, and we do the rest.
For someone wanting to go into immunotherapeutics, would you recommend focusing on cell biology or immunology knowledge? And will this course supplement that?
Yes, so you get to do both. So you will have you have to do cell biology and cancer cell biology in the core modules. So that's always going to be an option. In your second term, it looks like you want to go into the field of immunotherapeutics. So you can choose the specialist optional module, cancer immunology, and immunotherapy. And we have quite a lot of project offers within the realm of cancer immunotherapy as well.
I don't know if we know this, but as an intercalating medical student, what are the academic entry requirements, as well as we will not have completed a full degree yet?
Yeah, yes. So for the intercalating medical students, all we require of you is you've at least completed 3 years of your medical degree. So that's equivalent to a bachelor's degree.
Okay, I don't think there's any more questions on the Q&A box for now.
Good, thank you. Yeah, it looks like they've all gone. So yeah, thank you all for your questions. Marianne, do you have anything you'd like to say just about the course from your perspective? Just I guess close the session.
Yeah, I just genuinely I really love this course. I really love the style of teaching. As Sarah said, it was a variety of different teaching styles, and I loved being at UCL and getting lectures from different specialists. So yeah, I would really recommend doing an MSc course, especially if you're not sure about doing research and laboratory research in the future. And yeah, I think there's a question. Are the term one modules
Mm.
to an undergraduate level of knowledge?
That's a very good question. No, so it is. There's a few introductory lectures, I'd say about 3, where there probably is a little bit of a recap from um, your undergrad knowledge, but then it gets more advanced and becomes more detailed.
Um, and there's another question about MSc courses. Will most MSc courses be 12 months long? I don't.
It completely varies it, it across UCL, but depending on if it's a placement type MSc, but our MSc is 12 months long.
Mhm. Any more questions? Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for your time and for your comments and your questions. There are a few links in the chat about applying to the course and more information about the course that you can check out. And as we said before, this meeting was recorded, so you can also access the meeting, the recording, and watch it back. Thank you so much, Sarah, for the excellent session, and have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending, and thank you for the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.